Good morning, dear children. Last time we started with the lesson number 9, trade. Yes, now let us continue with the same lesson. Now we have learned about what is trade, then as trade as an economic activity, as an important economic activity. We also learned about the barter system, about the visible and the invisible trade. Then also we learned about the types of trade, right? Now last time we have seen the trade on the basis of the quantity, that is a wholesale trade and the retail trade. Okay, now it's time for us to go for the second type of division, right? Now we can also divide trade on the basis of the extent. Okay, on the basis of the extent of the trade region. So on the basis of that, it is divided into domestic, or it is also been called as internal trade. And the second division is international, or is also been called as an external trade. Okay, now let us go to each. Now the buying and selling of goods happens at various levels. Now on the basis, trade can be divided into the local, regional, national and international trade. Okay, now let us see first the domestic trade, that is the internal trade. This trade takes place between different regions within the same country. The size of the country, then its diversity, distribution and the availability of natural resources always affect the internal trade. Okay, that means the trade within the country. Now the size of population, transport and communication services, the living standard of the people, marketing system, this all lead to a large scale internal trade. Now in India, factors like diversity in geographical conditions and high population also affect the domestic trade. A country's development is depend on the extent of the domestic trade. So, if there is a good economic growth, then trade will also be more. Thus, there is a positive relation between the economic growth and the trade. Okay, right? So a country's domestic trade, that means an internal trade, should be good because it's a sign of development. Got it, my dear students? Now, let us move ahead with the second one. Now, according to the extent of region, we can also divide trade into internal trade as well as the next one, international trade. International trade means the exchange of goods and services of one country with the other countries. Some countries produce specific products which are excess. For example, crude oil in Saudi Arabia, or we can say like Kuwait, okay, as well as the wheat production in USA or Canada, etc. These products are sent to the countries which have demand for those goods, right? Now these leads to the beginning of the internal trade. Now when internal trade takes place between two countries, it is called as bilateral trade. Now when it occurs between more than two countries, it is called as multilateral trade. Okay, I hope the bilateral and multilateral is clear. Now, when we are talking about international trade, we should also know the concept export and import, right? Now, export and import are the basis, or we can say like basic process of international trade. Now, when a country buys those goods and services which are scarce, or we can say like which are very less in their own country from another country, it is known as import. Now when a country produces some products or goods or services in lot or in excess than required, okay, then it sells these to the other country which have a demand for it, and this is called as export. So in short, we can say the things coming in a country called as import. The things going out of the country, export. So this you should keep in mind, right, my dear student? Now, let us see balance of trade. Now, usually the difference between the import and the export values of a country in a specific period is called balance of trade. Now, according to this criteria, there are three types of balance of trade. Let us see the first one. You can see the image. From this image, what it is clear that when the value of import is more than the value of exports, it is called unfavorable balance of trade, right? Now the second one, you can see when the value of exports is more than the value of imports, then it is called as favorable balance of trade. Now when the value of exports and the imports is the same, then it is called as balance of trade. So for a country to progress, what should be there? Its import should be less and export should be more. That means it should be favorable. Right? Okay. So these all are the types of balance of trade. Let us move ahead with the next one. Now, my dear students, many times, when we are talking about international trade or at the international level, it is not that much easy as compared to the domestic trade. There are many laws, policy, government policy, markets. Then again, we can say like judicial system, currency differs, language differs, right? So this all influence the trade lot. So what is very important here is there should be some medium, okay, and that medium will help for the smooth functioning of this trade. Okay, so there are international trade organizations, right? Now international trade organizations carry out this kind of trade at an international level, and we all know trade at the international level is very complex. It is complex process than the domestic trade. Right? Now factors like the economies of the country, then the government policy, then the markets, okay, laws or judicial system, currency, language, etc. influence the trade. So the political relations between the two countries also influences the trade between them. So sometimes the obstacles in the way of trading affect the mutual relationship adversely, right? And to avoid this, international economic and trade organizations have come up. Now, to smoothen and justify the process of trade between two countries of different economic standings, some international economic organizations were being formed. Now these organizations, they work towards the facilitation and the growth of international trade. Now let us see some of the economic organizations of the world. Right, my dear students? Now, as I said, these organizations are all to avoid the international economies, and the trade organizations have come up to avoid the problems, or we can say like to smoothen and justify the process of trade between the countries. This organization work towards the facilitation and the growth of the international trade. Now let us see ahead with some of the economic organizations of the world. Now number one comes the World Trade Organization. Now you can see the logo of World Trade Organization. Let me tell you, my dear students, that this organization, there are 164 member states. Okay, there are number, you can see the number of member states. Okay, it is 164. Its headquarter is in the country Geneva, which is Switzerland. Now, what is, we can say like for what purpose or what are the functions of this World Trade Organization? Now, this World Trade Organization provide platform for negotiation in international trade. Okay, and to handle the differences related to trade or to monitor the trade policies of the member states, and it also provide technological assistance and training to the developing countries. Okay, so this is one of the world's biggest international trade organization, WTO, which is been called as World Trade Organization. Where is its headquarters? In Switzerland. Okay, now see this next one, that is the European Union, EU. Okay, now here the total number of members are 28, and you can see their logo. Now its headquarters is in Brussels, which is in Belgium. Now, what are the aims of this organization? As this organization has been there to establish an integrated market among the member nations in Europe, then free flow of goods, services, and capital in Europe. Then, apart from that, custom duties have been cancelled on exchange of goods within the members. Then, common euro currency established. Okay, so that these 28 countries, when they are trading among themselves, they are going to use a currency which is called as an euro currency. Okay. Now, the next one, the third one, which is very famous, and do you know this is controlling everywhere, that is the petroleum throughout the world. Now, what are they? It's the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. So, it has been called as OPEC. Okay, total 13 are the members, and you can see its logo, and its headquarter is in Vienna, which is in Austria. Okay, then its functions are controlling the international trade of crude oil, then controlling the rates of crude oil, and then production, then the crude oil production among the member states, and maintaining we can say like consensus in oil export. Now, let us go ahead with the next one. Yes, that is called as an SARC. Okay, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Total 8 countries are the member, and this is the logo of SARC. Now, its headquarters is in Kathmandu, that is Nepal. Now, its functions is finding satisfactory solution to the common problems faced by countries in South Asia. Apart from that, increasing social welfare or raising the we can say like raising the living standard, and apart from that, increasing regional cooperation among the member states, and also helps to remove unrest in South Asia. Okay, now the next one is ASEAN, means Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Here 10 are the member states, that is the number of the member states are 10. Now its headquarters is in Jakarta, which is in Indonesia. Now, this functions of this economic organization is expanding social and cultural harmony along with economic growth in Southeast Asia. It also promotes regional peace. It also promotes the tax waivers for trade growth in member states. Okay. APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. Here, number of member states are 21, and its logo you can see, and its headquarters is in Singapore. Now, its functions are free trade and economic cooperation in Asia Pacific Ocean region. Apart from that, promoting regional and technical cooperation among the members. Okay. Now the last one you can see is, from the name itself you can see BRICS. Now here you can see the flags also, you can see with the names. Now this is the logo of that organization. Now B here stands for Brazil, R stands for Russia, I stands for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. Right, its headquarters is in Shanghai, that is in China, and its functions are make funds available for growth of economies of members, then enhancing mutual economic cooperation and strengthening economic security. Okay, I hope my dear students it is clear to you all. Now today what we have covered, we have covered internal trade, then we have also covered international trade, then we have seen import, export, then balance of trade, that is favorable, unfavorable, and balanced, and we have also seen international trade organization and some examples of the economic organizations of the world. Okay, let us stop here, my dear students. Thank you. Have a good day.